You already know who I am, Sharonne Salaam. I'm the mother of Yusef Salaam, and I also have other children. In 1989, my son was arrested, convicted, and soon after that, in 1990, he went to jail. It was not one of those things that a mother, because I always see myself as a mother, I can't really talk about this situation in terms of what happens to people who are actually behind the bars and incarcerated. You know, every now and then you hear people talk and tell some of their experiences, but inside I'm sure that there are more things that are held inside. When this happened to me, I was just a mother going to work every day. Never in a million years would I have ever thought that this type of thing could have happened to me. But when it did, it opened my eyes to a new reality. And when that reality hit me and I started looking at the news, I saw it differently, because for the first time I actually saw the handcuffed children and the handcuffed adults as well. It was like I had never seen them before as long as I had been looking at TV. I was like you, or many of you, who've never been touched by this type of an experience. It's an experience that no one can really imagine. No school can train you to know and do and feel what needs to be done at that moment. No one. They often say that there's no school for motherhood. But I remember many years ago when I was having children, at that time, my grandparent came and she helped show me what I needed to know and do. She stayed with me for about a month, preparing me on that road. No one came and stayed with me for a month, preparing me for this prison experience. It was one step, I thought, out of hell. A hell that I would not have wished on anyone. For many days, I was unable to move. I was paralyzed. Thinking, but what could I do? All these thoughts in my head wrapping around my brain immobilized me in that moment. My experience is not unique. So many mothers go through this, but they are unseen. Nobody thinks about these people. Nobody thinks about the sisters. Nobody thinks about the sons who are living this every day. What happened in my situation that helped me come out of this fog was that one day I went downstairs from my apartment and a woman walked up to me and she said, "I'm going to help you. Here, take this $5. Because I didn't know how I was going to get my child out of jail. I didn't know anything. I was like a chicken with the head cut off. Most of you have never seen that, but I'm from the South. I've seen him running around looking for his head gone. I was like a chicken with the head cut off. But when she gave me that $5, something turned on in my brain, and I began to start thinking, wow, I could do this, and I could do that, and I could do the other. I had never been an organizer before. I really hadn't been a public speaker before. I was just like everybody else, just out trying to make a living, feed their children, and move on. But as you start to move, you see that things can happen to push you in a direction that you never would have thought you would have been in. And I started to really experience who my child was, and for the first time look at him in a whole different way, from the view of others. When I went to the precinct that night, when I went there, and I told them who I was, and I said I did not want my child spoken to, and I was not giving permission, and that my child was just 15 years old. There were other people there with me. One was an ADA out of Brooklyn. Another was a union organizer. And there were a few more, about 5 of us, because when my daughter told me this fantastic story, you first thing you do is you search your house, see what the little sucker is hiding. I looked everywhere. Then I went back to the child and I said, now what did you say? Where's my child? That's when I started calling to see if I could get some help. So I got this help. We go to the police precinct. I tell them all those things, and my lawyer said, oh, you fell on the right stuff to say. It didn't get me anywhere. I was hustled off to a back room with Linda Fairstein, the head of the sex crimes unit. I never made it above the first floor. I didn't know where my child was in the building. I didn't know if he was alive. I didn't know if he was dead. That's what mothers think when these types of things happen. Where is my child? The only difference was I didn't have to put up posters asking, help me find Yusef, because I knew where he was. I just couldn't get to him. I couldn't get to him. I saw other families there. And I said to one of the young ladies that I recognized, because I really didn't know very many people in the building, but I recognized people. You know how you are. You see people on your block, and you know they live on the block. You don't know their name, but you know they live somewhere. And I recognized them, and I said to this woman, I said, is your son here? And she said to me, oh no, it's my brother. I said, your brother? I said, well, how long have you been here? And Linda Fairstein runs up and she said, don't talk to her, don't talk to her. So already you know something's going on. Nobody wants to talk to anybody or tell anybody anything. I'm being hustled to a back room. The people who are in front, who've been separated from me, are being told, oh, she's meeting with Yusef. I'm still in the back room. Telling them, no, don't talk to my son. He's 15 years old. I'm not giving you any permission. Several times I told this woman, the head of the sex crimes unit. You would think we were speaking the same language, but obviously our English didn't coordinate with our reality. So I'm there, I'm trying to find out what's going on. They're not telling me anything. I meet this woman and she starts telling me what's going on. I said to her, listen, let's go outside because I have to find out what this is about and what's going on. We go outside and the poor unfortunate soul said to me, they brought my brother in the day before and they had been there. This was the second day, 2 days. And she said they told us that they was going to let him go home, but they haven't let him go home yet. And, you know, we don't know what's happening. She told me more about the story, what was going on. And I said to her, leave this place. You've been here 2 days. They keep telling you that your brother is coming home. Leave here and don't come back until you have a lawyer. But by that time, they had done so much mental working down on each one of the various families that they thought I was the enemy. I'm trying to tell them, leave and go get your child some help, but I'm the enemy. It was at that point I realized how deep this stuff was, and what was happening was moving in a way I didn't want it to go. When they finally told me that my child was going to be arrested for assault, I said to myself, wow, I got to get out of here. But already, after seeing what was going on, the people around me had already started trying to find me a lawyer. They had a payphone there. Everybody was calling everybody they knew to get to that station. One of the things that we need to do when you look at people who have been wrongfully convicted, we need to arm ourselves with information. We can't do like I did, learn this on the rope method. At one time when I was growing up in the South, people used to teach you how to act under certain situations. Because in those days, many years ago, most of you all don't know about that time unless you were way back there when. You needed to know how to talk to people, and white people in particular, because they were killing people in those days. You needed to know how to carry yourself in a certain way. We put that aside after we won our civil rights. We put that aside. So a lot of that stuff we're not teaching anymore. We got to get back to that. Because our children have to be armed with information, because when this happens, it's too late to tell them, don't do this, don't do that, say this, say that, or don't open the door. It's too late. They need to know that before. We are marching to Albany because we want to make a change, not only for these people who are wrongfully convicted, but for the family members who suffer along with them. Because while your child and your loved one is in jail, it's very difficult for them to advocate for themselves. Very difficult. They are counting on you to be that thread between life and death. I often told many families, no matter what your child did, if he's in jail, make sure you go see him. Go see him different times during the week. One day go on a Monday, next day go Friday, next day go Wednesday. But let them know that somebody cares about their child. If you can't get up, call somebody in the ministerial department and tell them, look, I'm concerned, I'm so-and-so's mama. I haven't heard from him for a while. Is he alive or dead? Let them know you call him. Get involved in the safety of your child, of your loved one. Even if it's an adult, get involved. We got to be a part of the involvement of the community, because that's the only way we're going to help ourselves. And as David put like a spin on to give you an overall picture of how this is going on and how long it's been going on, it's true. It's only going to stop when we get involved enough that it becomes real to our oppressors, that the time for it to stop is now. We are marching to Albany so that we can get justice for the wrongfully incarcerated. I feel like I was incarcerated with my son, and I haven't gotten any justice. And each time I think about it, my blood pressure goes up, and I say, where's my medication? I want to sit down and be honest and say, gee, I forgive ADA Linda Fairstein. I forgive Elizabeth Lederer. But when I start thinking about them, something tells me I haven't got there yet. But I'm working on it. This started in 1989. This only 2000 and what is it? 16. I still got time. During all that time to show the impact of what I'm talking about, how family members need to also be compensated and also receive justice. The stress of it all gave me stage 4 cancer. I had it twice. And I had an intercession person came in and cured me. And he'll do the same for you. You have to believe in your strength. I'm out here walking and you sit down and I talk to people and I say, come and walk with me. And they tell me how they got all these illnesses and they got this. At one time I was on a walker. I was walking down the street and I'm walking with my walker. I just had surgery on my knee. God broke the legs of the walker. I'm in the middle of the street. And I said to myself, I got to decide, what am I going to do? Am I going to walk or I'm going to stand here in this street? And I kept it moving. And I haven't looked back. I heard a song years ago that put me on the right path, because I'm really not a Christian, but this song put me on the right path. I was walking down 125th Street, and many of you know it, but the only part I know is this. One day at a time. Sweet Jesus. Just help me to do whatever the rest of the song is. And every time I think of how I made it through and how I'm walking here today, I'm walking one day at a time. And I want you to join me. We can do it together. I can't do it by myself. But with you, I am strong. But I've told my children that if I can't make it, wheel my coffin up there and say, justice for my mama. She needs it today.